Yes, mommy. Les week-ends à Bakechi sont très intéressants. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue à Enfrenched, My Journey with French. Je m'appelle Madame Wilhemina Darkwah et je suis ici avec Madame Patricia Baah. Madame Patricia Baah is a Principal Project Manager at Proforest and the Lead Consultant at Zoe Language Services. She's a sister and a friend. She's the only person in my life that I've been with in the same school from primary right out to the university. So when I thought of this program, I thought of none other than her to be my first guest. So, bienvenue, madame. Est-ce que vous pouvez vous présenter un peu?
Oui, je m'appelle Madame Patricia Baah, comme elle a déjà dit. J'habite à Accra avec ma famille. Je suis mariée avec 2 garçons. Et oui, comme elle a dit, je suis actuellement un principal gérant de projet avec Proforest et aussi un consultant avec Zoe Language Services qui est mon business à part de ce que je fais. Et oui, c'est comme ça.
Okay, so for the sake of our listeners who may not understand the French, can you say all of that in English, please?
Yes, like she said, my name is Patricia Baah, and presently I live in Accra with my family. I'm married with 2 sons, and I work with Proforest as a principal project manager, leading and delivering different projects on responsible source and responsible production in Africa, and also as a consultant with Zoe Language Services, which is my own consultancy setup. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so the purpose of this show is to just let people know that there are Ghanaians who have learned the French language. Ghanaians just like us who have learned the French language and have benefited from learning this French language. So I want you to tell me about your journey with the French language, especially with regards to your professional journey. Has the French language helped you in any way? Please let us know.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think I found myself in this industry because of my language proficiency, my French language proficiency, particularly because I speak other languages, obviously. But so yes, originally I trained as a language enthusiast. So my majors in the university were French and English. And then I ended up with the bachelor's in French and English. And I've been studying the language from primary school up to the university level. And even my master's was in the French language studies. And then I did diplomatic practice also in addition to that. But what brought me into the sustainability industry, which is looking at how to sustainably produce and source agric and forestry commodities, and also supporting companies to do that on all different levels, as well as supporting government with policies and all that. How did I get into this industry? It was through my French proficiency. So whilst I was in uni doing my master's, I think during the first year, which was the year for most of the coursework, I had a call from one of my friends who had then started working with a similar organization. And she said, "Oh, we are looking for someone with French proficiency to come and take up this role, overseeing and coordinating certification and auditing services in West Africa, like particularly Francophone West Africa." And she thought to call me. At the time, I was like, no, I had just started the course and I needed to pay attention and give it my full. But others were saying you should, when you are doing after uni, and when you want to pursue and do your master's degree, you're on your own. You have to finance it and all of that.
Yeah.
So it was tempting. At least that will bring in an income for you to support the school. But then I was also thinking, I want to concentrate and finish my coursework, and do it very well. So I declined the offer at the time. And then in my second year, when I finished the coursework and I was now doing the project work, working on my thesis and dissertation, the call came again that we still need someone to, fill this role, even though we got someone initially, but we need an additional person because the workload is a lot. So I said, yes, why not? I finished my coursework for the thesis. I can do it remotely. So I took that. I took that role, and that's how I came into this position. And everything that I have done from then on has been because of my language proficiency. That was how I entered the industry, and that was how I grew. So at the time, I was overseeing more than 200 auditors alone in Francophone West Africa, managing them, planning their audits, coordinating all the services, even including Madagascar as well. And so I moved from different positions. By the time I left that first organization, I had spent almost 10 years there
Wow.
doing different things. So there was a transition. So our department or section of that organization was acquired by another organization, and I worked with that new organization for 2 years in the same role, coordinating certification services, doing administration for certification services in now not only in West Africa but in all of Africa as well. And then it was there that I transitioned. I wanted to transition. I transitioned back to the previous organization, which is very interesting. So I transitioned back there, and that one I took up a different role as a customer success associate. So at the time they were rolling out a new program, and they needed people who had experience with the company already, who had experience with the organization and had, organizational history and knowledge to help them roll out that new program. So that was how I came to take that role as well, training more than, I think, all of the different cooperatives and exporters in Ghana and then in Francophone Africa as well. So I was there for almost 2 years when one of my friends called me. So with a previous organization, we had a partnership with the organization that I work for currently, Proforest. And for that partnership, I was the liaison between my previous organization and then Proforest. So one of the guys I was working with on that project at the time called me that, oh, we have a position and we have been looking for someone and your name has been coming up. Are you interested? So I asked him to share it with me, and I looked at the JD and all, and I was like, oh, looking at the level that they were recruiting from, I said, but I have passed this level because of my years of experience and all of that. And he said, yes, he knows, but if I'm interested, they will like we could discuss that. So that was when how I came to start working with Proforest. And once I started working with Proforest, I think it was within less than a year, I jumped about two roles.
Wow.
And it's all because of my French proficiency, because then it means that you have the competency, and then coupled with my years of experience, you take on, a lot more, uh, uh, um, work in Francophone Africa and now in all over Africa as well. Yeah. So that has been my journey, my professional journey with the French language. It is because of the language proficiency that I entered this industry, and I've enjoyed it. It
I've
was
enjoyed listening to it actually. I feel so happy and proud at the same time. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I've enjoyed it because it was even when I got into this industry that I even got the idea and then also the technical know-how to even start the business that I have presently. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the French has really, really helped me. My French proficiency has really played a major role in my professional journey.
Seriously, because the fact that they came for you a first time, you're not available, they came a second time, and
Yeah.
it's like when I tell people, they don't understand. People actually think that, when you do French, all that you do is to teach. But I tell people that I used to be in the corporate. My decision to be in tuition is just a personal, it's just a purpose kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there are so many opportunities. There are people who have called me on several occasions. We want you to, fill this position here and there. I said, no, I know I've been in corporate. I enjoyed corporate life, but what I'm doing right now is a passion, and that's why I'm here. So nothing will let me go back. People don't believe that those of us who speak French are actually hunted for. They come looking for us.
It's serious.
The
It's
fact that you
serious.
even went and came back and what you still had a place back there. It's
Yeah.
really powerful. It's really powerful. And I would like to know, how did you learn the French language? You are a
My
Ghanaian, right? Are you
yes,
100% Ghanaian?
I am 100% Ghanaian. I'm 100% Ghanaian. My dad is a Kapeme, my mom is Fanti, so I'm full-blooded Ghanaian.
Wow. Okay. So how did you?
And yes, my learning the French language was very interesting. It's a very interesting story. So I think in the early 90s, yeah, in the early to mid 90s, President Rawlings made learning the French language compulsory for once they rolled out the FQ educational policy. Yeah, because it made sense at the time because we are surrounded by francophone countries. So why can't we make the effort to be able to communicate with our neighbors, And so we started learning French language in the primary school, but it was not, I have a natural flair for languages. So yeah, it was just one of those languages that we were learning. But what really inspired me to take it very serious was my cousins. At the time, I was living with my grandparents, and I had other cousins who were also living with them. And they were at the time in, I think, JHS, and they were learning French. And most of the time when they come home, the two of them were very enthusiastic about learning the French language. And when they come home and they are conversing in French, in simple French. So I felt left out, you know. I felt left out of some of the things that they used to say, and I was like, no, I also need to be able to speak this French. In hindsight, when I think about it, the French that they were speaking, even though it was not so, how will we say it? We say maybe soutenu or perfect, yeah. But they made the effort.
Yeah.
And that really was an inspiration. They made the effort, whatever they knew, that was what they were using to communicate. And thinking back on some of the conversations and looking at the things that they were trying to say and how they use the French to communicate, that I really applaud them. So that was what inspired me to take the French language seriously so that I could also communicate.
Ah.
So at the point, I started joining in the conversations, and they were very happy. They were very happy that now, yeah, we have another language that we can switch to if you don't want someone else. And we used to do that a lot, especially at church. When we want to communicate, then we switch to French, and it was interesting. So that's how I came to learn French. I started learning French right from primary three, I think. Yes, that was when it was introduced in our school. And um, yes, the school we all went to is a military school. It was part of the second garrison schools in Takrade. So anything that Chairman Rawlings wrote out, they took it very seriously. So when all the other schools along the line they stopped, I think they stopped.
You
They
would,
took it very serious. It was, yeah, it was serious, it was compulsory, and that's how I came to learn the French language.
Okay, and then you continue
Yes.
to which level?
Yes, and I continued in SHS. In SHS, yes, I chose French. Like it was a non-starter, it was definitely
Yes.
going to be one of my majors, my electives.
Yeah.
So I continued learning French in SHS, and was also interested with our French, our wonderful French teacher who has authored so many books. Eh, And then I continued in the university as well, where I majored in French, in the French language with an elective in learning French as a foreign language, the learning and teaching of French as a foreign language. So I did FLE instead of FORCE in the university for one of my majors, and
Mhm.
it was interesting. I really enjoyed it. And then in my masters as well, I decided to pursue French language. So even diplomatic practice that I did diplomatic practice in French.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's also one thing that I think I have to just touch on. People think that when you say, "Oh, I learned French in school," people think that you just went to school to learn just the language French. We didn't just learn the French. We were using the French to learn other things that you are learning. Like we are learning business with the French. We are learning a friend is saying
Economics,
journalism, psychology,
linguistics,
philosophy. Put on all your
philosophy,
all right.
philosophy, literature, linguistics. Oh, yeah.
So I want to ask the way you are talking excitedly about the language and how I'm also excited about the language. People don't get it. Like, did you have a challenge learning? Because French, everybody knows that French is difficult. Did you have a challenge learning French? And if so, how did you overcome that? We want to know.
Well, I think I have enjoyed my language learning journey right from the beginning.
That's not fair.
One, yes, one, because I have a natural flair for languages. And then two, I had a motivation. I had a motivation and an inspiration. It becomes difficult when there is no motivation or inspiration to do so. So, they always say that if you find your why will keep you doing the what.
Mm.
Yeah. So once you have a motivation, it makes you easy. You don't even see the challenges. And when the challenges come, your first instinct is to look for how to overcome it so you can continue that enjoyable journey that you have. Yeah.
All right. So thank you for sharing that. I also tell people that I loved the French language so much that whenever I learned other subjects and I was tired, I just go for French. French was like a
It's
capsule for
fun.
me. It was
It
like
is.
a hobby or entertainment. When I'm tired or I'm sad, I just have to learn French. Everything will go away. Thank
Yes,
you
yes.
so much for sharing that. I'm happy that you share that with me. Maybe that's why we get along so well.
Yes. I will usually pick a French novel just to read to while I wait time or watch something in French. And it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Okay. So also I want to know, since you did FLE and you've learned French as well right here in Ghana, I want to know what are some of the things that you think we can do to improve on our language learning journey, or like basically most people when you talk to them about French, they said they were not happy with French, the teachers were beating them, it's difficult, blah 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 blah. What do you think can be done in our educational system to make French more interesting and make it easier for people to learn?
Yes, our French teachers, they are always the ones to blame.
You did.
Everybody had I don't know, everybody has had a bad French teacher except me. And
Me
you,
too. I haven't had any. I mean,
except me and you.
when you enjoy the language, the teacher doesn't struggle. It's
No, he doesn't struggle. So you see, that's the problem. That's the main problem because at the time, because it was now compulsory, a lot of people didn't have the motivation and the inspiration and the why. You, they didn't actually grasp it. All that they know is that now they have added another subject to what we are already learning in school. You know, and that is not a right start. That is not a right beginning because then it means that the students or the audience for the language learning have now become captive. It's like they don't have a choice. They have to. They don't have a choice. They have to. And that's made it a little bit difficult for themselves and for the teachers. And at the time, most of the teachers too were just not have that we didn't have a lot of teachers coming from Mount Mary College where they were specifically trained to teach the language. Most of them, because it was now compulsory, every school needed to have a French teacher. And the number coming from Mount Mary was just a few. So the others had to now fall on Togolese, Beninois, or Ivorians who were living in Ghana who could speak the language that was just native to them without the technical bit of teaching it as a second language to someone else. And so the teachers themselves had a struggle because they didn't have the technical training to teach it as a second language. And then the students were a captive audience. And that is a recipe for disaster. They'll frustrate each other. They'll frustrate each other. For the teacher, let's say he knows that this is how I say it in French because that's his native language. Exactly. But how do I explain the technicalities behind it for someone to understand it? So even in another instance, they can apply the same technicality to say something else in French. And that was all the frustrations. So I think presently what is important in language learning is that there is the technical aspect for the teachers on teaching it as a French language. Like I said, the play that we learn, it helps you to know how to teach French as a second language to someone else. Yeah. And that's very important. The technical aspect. And then for the student side also, I think we also need to do better with sensitization and awareness for us to know why do I need a second language? Why do I need French even, particularly as a second language? It's very important.
Thank you. So it's as you said, it's a two-sided thing. The one learning must be motivated, must have a reason and a motivation. And the one teaching must also have the technicalities, the know-how to be able to share that knowledge. And just as you're saying, people say that. So let me take advantage of this to explain why most French teachers were angry. When I started teaching French, I realized, okay, so that's why teachers get angry, because some of the concepts that you are trying to convey, because this person speaks English, they don't understand the mindset behind what you are teaching. And they want to insist, for instance, say, comment vas-tu? Je vais bien. And the person wants to know, je vais means I am going. So why, and je suis means I am. So why don't I say je suis bien, but je vais bien? And so you, as somebody who has learned, haven't learned that I am and je suis, you don't understand why the teacher wants you to say je vais. Teacher who also doesn't understand the structure of the English language also doesn't understand why you are not taking what they are saying and you are challenging them. So it becomes frustrating. So please, the French teachers, we don't easily get angry. The frustration is on both sides. You are also we are trying to find our way out. But then, as she said, once you have the technical know-how, it becomes a better thing. People usually tell me that I'm not a real French teacher because I laugh too much. They expect you to be angry all the time. No, if you understand the challenges of your learners and can meet them halfway, it becomes fun for both sides. And all that we are looking for is the success of the student. So why not?
Yeah. And because the students do work a captive audience, and they had no regard for the language. I was in a class with a lot of students who had the French into the French into the. So when the teacher comes, even for them to pay attention, so now the teacher also thinks that they need to have a serious pose and so that the students will take them seriously, and that was very disturbing. That's all contributed to the frustration.
Well. All right, so now the other question I want to ask. This question I've had to talk to people a lot about it. People believe that the international languages that we learn, it's a way of taking us away from our local languages and culture and the identity. What do you think about? Is it true? Is it true that the international languages are just using to just tools being used to enslave us, still enslave us in this modern day? What are your thoughts on that?
Unless you want to vegetate in one corner of the whole wide world, that is how when you would think like that. But if um you have a very wide worldview and perspective, and you are not looking to just stay in one place, then you know that it's important to embrace other languages and learn. You know, it's important. Look, all around us are francophone countries. So, what will you do if you find yourself like in Togo, in Burkina Faso, in Ivory Coast? What will you do? How will you communicate? Where the dominant language is the French language. Are you going to, you know, uh, uh, hire a translator? Or there are some things that are not just practical, but if you are able to, have some proficiency to sort yourself out, il faut savoir comment se débrouiller un peu. Is just that we have a very wider worldview than, unless you just want to stay at one place, you don't want to go to anywhere. You just want to stay in secondary and just be speaking fancy every day. Even that, someone will come to you. You get it.
Yeah.
It's like this principle that we have in evangelism. You say that oftentimes you say, Lord, give us the nations, give us the nations. It's not always that He will send you out into the nations. Sometimes He will bring the nations to where you are sitting. How will you communicate with them? If you will not go into the world will somehow come and meet you there. But how will you communicate? So I don't think that the international languages are a threat. It is how you see it and how you make it. And then the other thing too is that for these international languages, like the French language and the Chinese language, for instance, these are the two that I can speak for because that's what we see. They are putting a lot into promoting their languages. I remember when I was doing my master's, the Chinese government had given some, funding to teach Chinese for free in the university. And look at how the French government promotes the French language. Go to every African country, every country in the whole wide world, there is a French cultural center that promotes the learning of the French language. And they put money into all of these things. But what have we done? Even just cross into Togo. A lot of people, after Aflao, you won't get 10 people who know about the Tree language or Akan language or Ewe language or Hausa language. Maybe the few ones that we have similarities with them that they will know. But if you, after Aflawo, you won't get so much people knowing about our languages because we are not promoting it. Look at our footballers and then our celebrities and other people who represent us outside of our nation. They all speak another language, which is English. But look at the other footballers. You hear them speaking languages from Brazil, speaking Portuguese, speaking Afrikaans. They speak their local languages, Arabic, and then whoever wants to understand is forced to find a translator.
Yeah.
That is how we put our own languages out there. That is how we promote it. But if you are not doing that, you can't say that the one that is promoting their own is a threat to you. How?
Say how?
Yes, how? It's like you are selling something. You are not advertising. Somebody is selling the same thing. They are advertising. Say they are a threat to you. How are they a threat to you? Advertise your own. If you advertise your own, you too, you get customers. Is that not it? So I don't think it's a threat.
All
It
right.
is how the perspective we have, the understanding, and how we handle it. For instance, for me, my children attend a bilingual school, so their school is French and English, but they are in the French stream. So they are doing Éducation Française Nationale. So, but at home, they speak French with each other. The two boys speak French with each other. With me, sometimes they speak French, sometimes they speak English. With their father, they speak Fanti, sometimes they speak English. With their grandparents, they speak Fanti or Twi. So how is the French language a threat to them? And there is no interference. You
Exactly.
know, it is clear. It is clear. It is how we handle it, how we see it, and what do you want to do with the language?
Exactly.
If you won't promote your language and somebody else is promoting their own, don't say that their own is a threat to you. I don't think so. I don't agree.
That's what I always say. We are just, we are just quick to accuse others. Why don't we look at it from our side? What are we also doing on our part to promote our languages? If not, because I mean, when I come on radio or I do anything, I speak the Fanti, I speak the French, I speak the English. I'm just switching from. So fun. If you have not tried that, don't say that.
Yes.
It's fun. We are just moving from language to language, and you are just sitting at one side saying that you're not like, oh, see, take yourself away, don't come and worry those of us who are just blending in here and there. It's such a wonderful experience. So,
Yeah.
listeners and viewers out there, if you have not tried it, please just try it. It does not pose a threat. The international languages have their role, and then the local languages have their role. As we are doing this interview now, first of all, the reason why we are not speaking French is just because we know that those watching and listening, they don't just, it's not everybody who speaks the French language. If we had been in a French community, we would have spoken the French, right? In the same way, we are not speaking, both of us speak Fanti, but we are not speaking Fanti. Yeah, but Fanta. Obi or different language on task. So we can speak Fanti also, but just because if we speak Fanti, someone else will not understand. So that is what it's all about. Every language has its role, and the languages they can peacefully coexist. Learn as many languages as you want to, and then don't go fighting another language for promoting or another people
Yeah.
promoting their language. All right, it's been a wonderful interview, viewers and listeners. I'm sure you also enjoyed it so much. And we're about to wrapping it up, but before I do so, let me let you know that we're having a teacher training webinar. When I say teacher training webinar, it's not just that it's for teachers. I mean, people who want to learn the French language. If you are self-taught, you want to know how to teach yourself well and speak the language, you have to be there. If you're a parent who wants to teach your child the French language or who wants to be better positioned to know which resources to use, which methods to use to get your child to learn the French, you have to be there. Yes, if you're a teacher, definitely you also have to be there. In fact, anybody at all who wants to learn the French language and you want to know how to do it so well, teach it well, learn it well so that you'll be able to speak it with confidence and with joy. In fact, if you want to learn how to fall in love with the French language, as we are so in love with it, if you have been following Achievers Success Hub or my page, Wilhemina Darkwah, either on Facebook or Instagram, you see that the learning of French is so much fun. Children are speaking French, adults are speaking French, and they are not being compelled to do it. They are not a captive audience. They are a happy audience. Every Saturday, children come to my home here in Takwari. We have a French learning center. They come with joy to learn French. They actually chase their parents to bring them. A French choir, people are rushing to come. It's because something different is being done. And we want to share these ideas with you so that you also know how to go about it. So make sure that on 29th June, you are part of this webinar. We'll make every information available so that you can sign up. Okay, so before we wrap up completely, Madame Patricia, en fait, est-ce que vous avez quelque chose à nous dire? Est-ce que vous avez des conseils pour les personnes qui nous écoutent ou bien qui nous regardent?
Oui. Oui, moi, je vais dire que le français, la langue française, c'est un atout très important dans dans cette période, partout dans le monde. C'est un grand atout. Il faut s'appuyer à apprendre la langue française, surtout si tu es un Ghanéen. Si tu es un Ghanéen qui est parmi les pays francophones, s'appuyer à apprendre la langue française.
Okay.
Please, if you are a Ghanaian, surrounded by all these francophone countries. Apply yourself to learning the French language because it is a very great and wonderful tool to have in your bag in our world at this moment. Yeah. So
Okay.
apprenez le français.
Apprenez le français, c'est très important d'apprendre la langue française, ok? C'est pas un outil pour nous écarter de nos langues africaines ou bien de nos identités et cultures africaines. C'est un atout très utile. Un atout, c'est un outil très utile pour bien avoir accès à des positions ou bien des secteurs économiques, internationaux, éducatifs et tout ça. Donc, il faut bien avoir le temps, s'appuyer à apprendre la langue française. Okay, so just saying that the French language is very important in this world. Okay, it is very, very much an asset that you will need. It will give you access to economic, international, and other developmental projects or avenues that you want to get yourself into, other spaces, every space that you want to get to, you need a French language. Presently, I've realized that most of the adults who have been in my learning, my online class, it's not just French teachers. In fact, the teachers won't even come. Medical doctors are coming, consultants are coming, engineers are learning. I'm like, where are all these people going to? Charlie, asami ba my journey. I'm on kind of who. Now you see your French need. If there's something coming up, let us know because I don't know why all the doctors are not learning French. Okay, but that goes to say that no matter your field, the French language is very, very important because I also see a lot of job advertisements here and there. We need a graphic designer who can speak French. We need this, who can like the things that used not to be the case. No, right now it is the case, which means that no matter the domain you work in, when you have the French language, it gives you extra access. And then personally, what I've realized is that those of us in the English speaking countries, we have access to a lot of information, free training, free skills here and there, which gives us an advantage over those who are in the French-speaking countries. So they usually prefer people who are in Anglophone countries who can speak French so that they import them there. So please make sure that you are empowering yourself. You have to be enfrenched and you have to enfrench all your children so that later in life they'll be happy that you did this for them. Okay, merci beaucoup, madame. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, our viewers and our listeners. We really appreciate you. We hope to see you another time in the next episode. Merci. Au revoir.